Chapter 1529. Greetings to His Majesty Emperor Yu. Tianshui Zhenjuan instantly rushed up to Li Yu and bowed to Li Yu. No need to be so courteous, true immortal. Li Yu smiled and nodded at the beautiful woman who had chatted freely with him back then. Back then, when Li Yu had just left Nanli Island, he had visited Tianshui Lake once and chatted with Tianshui Zhenjuan over wine. Later, when he was looking for the Celestial Lord of the Origin World, Li Yu had also met Tianshui Zhenjuan a few times. His Majesty Emperor Yu is truly a peerless genius. Tianshui Zhenjuan was also deeply moved. How long had it been? The fellow Taoist, whom he had interacted with as an equal back then, was now worlds apart in status. True immortal, this is an unusual matter. Let I deal with it. Please calm your disciple down, true immortal. There is no need to panic. Only those celestial emperors would be able to do such a thing. At the level of celestial emperors, Tianshui Zhenjuan's celestial king level strength was simply not enough. Naturally, Li Yu could not let Tianshui Zhenjuan get involved in this matter. Yes. Tianshui Zhenjuan bowed and accepted the order, then took his leave. However, Tianshui Zhenjuan's heart was a little gloomy. Tianshui Zhenjuan had naturally been moved by this extraordinary man in front of him, and he had also had expectations. Unfortunately, the gap between their status and strength was getting wider and wider. In the beginning, he did not walk to his side and share his joys and sorrows. When he became successful and famous, there was even less of a chance for him. Some things, once missed, would be missed forever. With a long sigh, Tianshui Zhenjuan returned to the Tianshui Pavilion's encampment and buried his feelings deep in his heart. I can only blame myself for not working hard at that time. With Li Yu's passive personality, as long as Tianshui Zhenjuan took the initiative, there would definitely be a place for her in his harem. While Taoist Tianshui was sad, Li Yu was furious. Damn it! Damn it! Standing above Tianshui Lake, Li Yu saw a void hole at the bottom of Tianshui Lake. The 9 underworlds' devil chi just now had gushed out from this hole in the void. Your AF** King Celestial Emperor. How can you use such a despicable method? Smashing a hole in the space of you Emperor Heaven was the same as smashing the glass in Li Yu's house. Not only did he break the glass, he even brought over a gust of netherworld demonic chi. How disgusting! Such a shameless method was simply like that of a hooligan. Li Yu was furious. This is most likely the work of that celestial Emperor Taishian. He stretched out his hand, and a gust of void power gushed out in an instant, quickly mending the void hole at the bottom of the lake. Everything was restored to its original state. Back then, it was Celestial Emperor Taishian who transmigrated me from the primeval Earth to this main world. Speaking of which, this world originally belonged to Celestial Emperor Taishuan's realm. After the Celestial Emperor Taishuan's possession incident, Li Yu snatched this main world and turned it into his own Yu Emperor Heaven. This was originally a realm under Celestial Emperor Taishuan's control, so Celestial Emperor Taishian naturally knew this place had something to do with Li Yu. The act of smashing the glass was a provocation to Li Yu. You want to provoke me? You want to lure me out? You want to set me up? Li Yu saw through Celestial Emperor Taishuan's trick and sneered inwardly. I'm just about to settle accounts with you, and you've delivered yourself to me? Then I'll deal with you first. With a flash, Li Yu stepped out of Yu Emperor Heaven and arrived in the endless void. The endless void was vast and boundless. There was nothingness all around. However, in Li Yu's eyes there was an obvious trace. Following the karma of smashing the glass, Li Yu immediately found this karma thread. Unfortunately, the karma thread had been severed by someone. And you made it so real? And deliberately severed the karma thread? You're really professional, Li Yu sneered. He reached out and grabbed the karmic thread. He deliberately severed it, but he happened to leave behind a trace of evidence. You think I can't see through such an obvious bait? Li Yu was the most professional at tricking people. You want to play with me? I'll play you to death. With a flick of his finger, the trace left in the karma thread pointed to a certain direction in the void. You're really willing to spend a fortune to lure me over? A pearl of origin? I just happen to need that. I'd like to see what other tricks you have. With a flick of his sleeve, Li Yu stepped out, crossed the endless void, and arrived at the edge of a world. This is also a pearl of origin. I wonder which world this is? A crystal-clear light flashed on Li Yu's body. Without a sound, Li Yu's figure turned into a watery light, instantly passing through the plane boundary, and entered the world of the pearl of origin. This is also Earth? With a glance, Li Yu realized that the world of the pearl of origin was also Earth. This Earth seemed to be in the era of spirit chi recovery. In the modern city, it seemed ordinary. In reality, there were countless awakened people with special abilities. Lu Shu, I want to eat Tong Hulu. In the western part of the divine land of this earth, in an ancient city, a 10-year-old girl was visiting a temple fair with a 16 or 17-year-old boy. This boy called Lu Shu has so much luck on him? Is he the child of destiny? Seeing this boy called Lu Shu, Li Yu's heart skipped a beat. Young man, our meeting is fate. I will give you an opportunity. I'll give you a poisonous chicken soup system. With a slight flick of his finger, a light flashed and disappeared, landing in the body of the boy called Lu Shu. Of course, giving him an opportunity was not the goal. This was only one of Li Yu's attack methods. Since this world of the Pearl of Origin was a place where others set up an ambush for Li Yu, he naturally had to set up a backup plan, turning passive into active. Giving the Child of Destiny a system was equivalent to opening a back door in the origin of this world's laws. Now I can be sure. Every Pearl of Origin is a world of Earth. It's just that each one is different. Li Yu smiled and took a step forward, stepping into the void beyond the heavens. Looking up at the void, Li Yu stood with his hands behind his back, a mocking expression on his face. Since you wanted to lure me here, why are you still hiding? Ha 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 ha. As expected of the child of chaos, you have guts. A black light flashed, and a middle-aged man wearing a black emperor's robe, with a dignified appearance and a vast aura, suddenly appeared in the void. I am Taixin, child of chaos. We meet again. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the Lord of Heaven of Taixin. He smiled and looked at Li Yu. Are you arrogant? Or are you stupid? This is such an obvious trap, but you are stupid enough to step into it yourself. Today you will not return. Only death awaits you. Stop bragging. If you have any tricks, hurry up and use them. I still have a pot of wine at home. It won't taste good if it gets cold. Li Yu curled his lips in disdain. Chapter 1530. Since you want to die so much, I'll fulfill your wish. Taixin's celestial arch sneered, his eyes flashing coldly. I know Huang Tian died in your hands. Does that make you so smug? Does that make you so arrogant? Today I'll teach you a lesson. Shut up. You're just a loser. I don't care about you at all. Raising a finger and waving it at Taixin's celestial arch, Li Yu sneered disdainfully. Trash like you. Killing you is like killing a chicken. His arrogant demeanor and arrogant words vividly portrayed the image of a main character who was so domineering that he could blow up the heavens. You're courting death. Taixin's celestial arch was so angry that his face turned green under Li Yu's taunting attack. A deep black light flashed, and a pitch-black pagoda rushed out from Taixin's celestial thearcha's head, its majestic power shaking the void. Still want to fight? You didn't play any tricks? That's not in line with your character. Li Yu raised his eyebrows and pulled out his profound yellow sword with a clang. Since you want to fight, then, take my sword. Dazzling sword light soared into the sky, tearing the sky apart. Brandishing his hornet sword, Li Yu didn't hesitate and slashed at Taixin's celestial arch. Darkness of chaos, Taixin light. The pitch-black pagoda shook with a rumble, like the endless and deep darkness at the beginning of all things. Darkness of chaos represented the endless darkness at the beginning of chaos. Boom! A loud sound rang out. Liyu's annihilation sword light slashed heavily on the black light formed by darkness of chaos, exploding with a violent impact that shook the void. For a moment space-time collapsed. Void annihilation. Stars fell like rain. Under this attack, a large part of the endless galaxy in the starry sky was swept away. Countless galaxies were annihilated. Countless stars turned into nothingness. If they weren't in the world of the Pearl of Origin, this attack would have shattered countless space-time and destroyed countless worlds. Is that all you've got? Is that all you've got? You lured me here just to show me this? You disappoint me too much. Once again, Liu entered the protagonist mode of domineering and awesome. His face was full of disdain as he curled his lips. With a touch of his waist, the Emperor Yu Bell and the heavenly worthy seal appeared in a flash of light. A huge purple-gold divine bell and a huge black seal exploded with endless destructive light, smashing heavily on Taishien's celestial arch. Of course that's more. The great mystery heavenly emperor sneered as he released the black tower to block Liyu's attack. Why do you think I lured you? Of course. I'm sure I can win. The celestial emperor of Taishan raised his hand and looked at Liu. Didn't you want to see what I can do? Then just watch carefully. Suddenly calm boom. The ice coffin exploded and a figure appeared in front of celestial emperor Taishan. This is, Liu shuddered at the sight of the figure in the coffin. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. The figure released from the coffin was exactly the same as Liu. Seeing this figure, Liu's bloodline and soul resonated with the figure in the ice coffin. That's me? Liu could clearly feel that the figure emerging from the coffin was himself. Not a doppelganger, not an avatar, but the real him, another him. Everyone only had one self. There couldn't be two of him. What's more, the Son of Chaos was one of a kind. It was even more impossible for there to be two of him. And yet, another Liu had appeared in front of him. Are you shocked? Are you afraid? Taishien's celestial arch grinned. Son of Chaos, do you think you can escape from me? You have always been in my hands. Phew. Liu exhaled deeply, a frosty glint in his eyes. Very well, you've succeeded in infuriating me. Only your head can quell the anger in my heart. Ha 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 ha. Taishien's celestial arch roared with laughter. You're still so arrogant? Do you think you still have room to struggle? Huang Tian's method is correct. He's only wrong in using the wrong materials. The celestial emperor of Taishan reached out and grabbed the Liu in the ice coffin. The mockery on his face deepened. How can using the souls and blood of your people compare to using your own blood and soul for a bloodline curse? The Taishan celestial emperor pointed his finger at the head of the Liu he'd grabbed. Streaks of crimson light flashed from the Liu. Pain. An indescribable pain suddenly appeared on Liu's body. This was the bloodline curse. This was Taishan celestial Thearcha's true trump card. Have you forgotten? I'm the one who got you out of the primeval earth. I'm the one who brought you to the mystic spirit world, the you Emperor Celestial you speak of. Taishan's celestial arch looked mockingly at Liu. Why do you think you were so weak in the beginning? As a son of chaos, why is your body and soul so weak that it's even weaker than an ordinary person's? Isn't it because I took half of your blood and soul? Accept your fate. Obediently become a chess piece. Obediently open the land of origin for me. This is your destiny. Taishan's celestial arch grinned maliciously. Crimson light exploded from his hand as he slapped Liu. Pain. A heart-wrenching pain. Liu screamed in agony, his face pale and his body trembling. He sweated profusely. Have you had a taste of my power? Taishien's celestial arch raised Li Yu in his hand. I've refined it into a puppet. With this thing in hand, you'll never escape my control. If I want you to live, you live. If I want you to die, you die. Originating from the same bloodline and soul, you can't sever the karma or sever the connection. With this puppet, I have the upper hand. Through this puppet, I can completely control your every move. Taishien's celestial arch smiled coldly and beckoned with his finger. Come here. Ah, bastard! Li Yu struggled and roared in pain, but against his will, he obediently walked toward Taishien's celestial arch. Ha 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 ha! Do you see? Do you know what I'm capable of? Taishien's celestial arch laughed maniacally. Then, I see it. Li Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. You see it too, right? I've been acting very hard. Hurry up and chop him up. Boom! There was a loud explosion in the void. A sleek fatty swung a large saber at Taishien's celestial Thearcha's head. At the same time, a white jade rui came crashing down, and pure white flames enveloped Taishien's celestial arch. Chapter 1531. Ah, Taisu, Taisu, you. The Taishien's celestial arch was shocked to see Taisu and Taisu ambush him. How was this possible? What was going on? Why would Taisu and Taisu help the Son of Chaos? Why was this happening? Damn it, what's wrong with you? The Taishien's celestial arch had no choice but to let go of the Li Yu he'd grabbed and defend against the two celestial emperors. He hurriedly released the Black Tower and used all his strength to defend against the two celestial emperors. Unfortunately, how could the Taishien's celestial arch withstand the sudden attack of the two celestial emperors? Boom! A loud explosion was heard. The Taishien's celestial arch and the Black Tower were sent flying hundreds of millions of miles into the endless void, shattering a vast galaxy. Capture! The Taishien's celestial arch was sent flying. Li Yu reached out and grabbed the Li Yu. It really is my bloodline and soul. Seeing the flesh and blood puppet in his hand, Li Yu was furious. He yelled at Taisu and Taisu, beat him to death. Along the way, Big Boss Li's journey had been smooth and successful. When had he ever suffered such a loss? To Li Yu, it was a great humiliation that his body and soul had been refined into a flesh and blood puppet. How could he not be angry? Back then, Her Majesty sent the remaining flesh and blood of the Son of Chaos to the primeval earth. That's how I was born. Then, Taishien's celestial arch transmigrated me and took the opportunity to cut off half of my flesh and soul to refine me into this puppet. Li Yu recalled his tragic past and was even more furious. Taishien's celestial arch attacked me. I wouldn't believe it if she didn't know about this. What role did Her Majesty play in this? What does she want? As he pondered in his heart, Li Yu had already discovered that the Empress seemed to be both an enemy and a friend. He really couldn't see through her and didn't know what she was planning. Sooner or later, I'll have to get to the bottom of things regarding the Empress. Now let's deal with that bastard Taishien first. Taishien was the one who directly attacked Li Yu. Li Yu had never suffered such a loss before, so how could he still have a good temper? If he didn't kill Taishien, how could he be satisfied? Boom, boom, boom. In the void, Celestial Emperor Taishu and Celestial Emperor Taihong worked together to beat Celestial Emperor Taishian. They had already completely thrown their lot in with Li Yu, so they naturally had to put on a good show. Taishian used the flesh puppet to scheme against Li Yu, which infuriated Li Yu. This was the perfect opportunity to show off. How could the two of them not do their best? Along the way, the two of them used all their strength to chase the Celestial Emperor of Taishian into the endless void. Damn it! Are you two crazy? The Celestial Arch was actually a dog for a junior like the Son of Chaos? Do you guys have any shame? Celestial Emperor of Taishian was beaten until his face was covered in dirt and could not resist cursing angrily. Even if Celestial Emperor of Taishan was already a second-step sovereign in chaos, facing the joint attack of two same-level existences, even if he did not die for a while, failure was only a matter of time. No way, being besieged by these two, plus a son of chaos, I'll lose for sure. Got to run quickly. Otherwise, Huang Tian's end is right before my eyes. Celestial Emperor of Taishan snorted coldly in his heart. Son of chaos, I've already suffered a loss at your hands once. Furthermore, Huang Tian's fall is right before my eyes. How can I not have a backup plan? I've long thought of a way out. This is my world. This is my origin bead. Even if I miscalculated this time, and let you escape a calamity. Can't beat you guys, can I run? Taking advantage of the opportunity before Li Yu arrived, Celestial Emperor of Taishan had thoughts of retreating in his heart. His divine soul moved, triggering the origin law of this origin bead world. Origin law, blood sacrifice all life in this world to stop the enemy. Although he'd sacrificed all life in this bead, even at the cost of the origin bead's origin, it could only stop Li Yu's trio for an instant. However, that was enough time for Celestial Emperor Taishan to run. As long as I escape your siege, I'll join forces with the others immediately. I can even rely on the Empress. What can you do to me? Sneering, Celestial Emperor of Taishan hurriedly activated the blood sacrifice. And then, nothing happened. What's going on? Why can't I control the origin bead's laws? This completely unexpected situation caused Celestial Emperor of Taishan to turn pale with fright. Are you surprised? Do you think that I came to your doorstep so generously just to throw away my life? Li Yu's figure appeared behind Celestial Emperor of Taishan in the blink of an eye and raised his hornet sword high into the air. Sword light that could annihilate all things soared into the sky. Of course I did something to it. With a sneer, Li Yu swung his hornet sword and heavily slashed at Celestial Emperor of Taishan. When they first entered this world, Li Yu had given Lu Shu, the Chosen One, an opportunity, a poisonous chicken soup system. The Chosen One was born chosen by the heavens, and was innately connected to the origin of the laws of this world. Li Yu had easily opened the back door to the origin bead's laws. He had put on such a tough act not to tease Celestial Emperor of Taishan, but to stall for time, waiting for the system to silently integrate into the laws of heaven and earth. Damn it! Damn it! His last escape route was gone. Celestial Emperor of Taishan roared madly and attacked desperately, trying to kill his way out. Unfortunately, if he could still escape in a 1 versus 3 situation, Li Yu would not be able to survive. Sound of chaos shake the soul. The greatest weakness of the second step of chaos was that the soul had not yet turned into chaos. The soul was the most vulnerable part of the body. The Yu Emperor bell flew out of his hand and exploded with a mighty sound wave. There was a loud sound like the beginning of the world. The mighty heavenly sound swept out and hit Celestial Emperor of Taishan. He was flustered by the joint attack of Tai Su and Tai Hong. How could Celestial Emperor of Taishan block this attack? Suddenly, he was hit squarely in the face. Boom! There was a violent explosion in his soul. The boundless vibration made Celestial Emperor of Taishan dizzy. Sword of Annihilation. The hornet sword, with endless destructive chi, tore through the sky, cut through karma and fate, cut through matter and laws, and heavily hit Celestial Emperor of Taishan. Celestial Emperor of Taishan screamed and was beaten into the form of chaos. Beat him! Beat him to death! Li Yu roared and swung the Holy Master's seal. Like a brick, he slammed it down heavily on the chaos chi formed by Tai Xian. Blade of Hongtian, cut! Flame of Taisu, burn! Taisu and Tai Hong would not let go of such a good opportunity to beat a drowning dog. They swung their weapons with all their might and smashed Celestial Emperor of Taishan. A moment later, Celestial Emperor of Taishan was destroyed. Even the last bit of his soul was absorbed by this system. Celestial Emperor of Taishan had officially fallen. Chapter 1532. The heavens tremble again, and heaven and earth grieve again. The moment Celestial Dharch Taishan died, another space-time tremor swept through the chaos. Liu looked up at the space-time tremor and frowned slightly. First Huang Tian, now Taishan. 2 celestial emperors had died in a row. This situation would shock the other celestial emperors. 2 celestial emperors had died in a row. The strength of the Son of Chaos was so shocking. He could threaten the survival of the other celestial emperors. I, the Son of Chaos, am so powerful that I can threaten your survival. What will you choose in this situation? Liu looked up at the sky, a cold smile on his face. I'm afraid forming an alliance to protect yourselves and deal with the Son of Chaos together will be the inevitable choice, right? Alliance? Turning to look at Celestial Dharch Taisu and Celestial Dharch Taihong, Liu sneered. Aren't these 2 fellows just the right people to form an alliance? Having made up his mind, Liu sent the 2 celestial emperors away to visit friends and form alliances. Shen Gongbao is the most terrifying character. I'll release 2 Shen Gongbaos now. Let's see how you resist. Recalling how these 2 fellows had each led their allies into a fiery pit, Liu snickered inwardly. Taishan has died, and the Pearl of Origin is in my hands. Vast divine splendor pierced through the laws of heaven and earth, and Liu quickly refined the Pearl of Origin. At this point, Liu had 6 Pearls of Origin in his possession. I'm only 3 away from gathering all 7 Dragon Balls, Pearls of Origin. The remaining 3 Pearls of Origin were in the hands of Celestial Dharch Taichi, Celestial Dharch Taiyuan, and Celestial Dharch Azure Heaven. Celestial Dharch Azure Heaven was still a little troublesome. However, with the 2 Shen Gongbaos of Taichi and Celestial Dharch, he should be able to get his hands on them soon. The situation was looking good, but Liu wasn't in a very good mood. He released the flesh puppet with a wave of his hand. Sorrow, pain, helplessness. Liu's expression was very conflicted. This was another himself. The exact same body. Exactly the same soul. Even though Tai Xian had turned him into a puppet of flesh and blood, this Liu was still conscious. I am very happy. A chuckle entered Liu's mind. This Liu, who had completely turned into a puppet and had completely lost his ability to control himself, seemed to be very relaxed and happy at this moment. You don't know of my existence, but I've always known of your existence. Do you feel that your memories of the past are very blurry? Is it because you can't remember the past? Puppet Liu chuckled again. Of course you can't remember, because I am the original consciousness. You are a new consciousness born from the remnant of my soul after it was taken out by Tai Xian. I know. When Liu saw the puppet, he already knew what was going on. Back then, when he returned to the primeval Earth, if it wasn't for his colleague's reminder, he wouldn't have remembered that he had to go to work. When he was on the primeval Earth, he couldn't recall many things in the past if he didn't see them with his own eyes. Even so far, he didn't have the memory of Celestial Emperor Taishan getting him out of the primeval world and transmigrating to Yu Huang Heaven, nor did he have the memory of Celestial Emperor Taishan dividing his flesh and soul. You are me. I am you. Kill me. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Puppet Liu laughed cheerfully. After being tortured by Tai Xian for so many years, the reason I was able to persevere and not collapse was because of this. I've been waiting for this day. Waiting for you to take revenge. Waiting for you to kill Tai Xian. Today I've already gotten my wish. I'm late. Liu let out a long sigh. Liu didn't feel anything about the existence of this self at all. He never thought that there would be such a thing. If he had known all this, Liu would have schemed against Tai Xian from the beginning and killed him long ago. Not late. Not late at all. Now is the time. The puppet laughed. Come on. Only by fusing the bloodline and soul again can we be complete. Only by fusing as one can we become the true son of chaos. All right. Liu took a deep breath and clapped his hands. A mighty light swept out. All the tricks that Celestial Emperor Taixian had used on the puppet, all the aura and traces that didn't belong to himself, were annihilated in the light and turned into nothingness. Return to the origin, fuse the bloodline, and become one with the soul. With a loud explosion, the puppet exploded and turned into a bloody light that rushed into Liu's body. Boom! A mighty divine light burst out of Liu's body. This was the light of bloodline. This was the light of life. The bloodline of the Son of Chaos was finally complete. A mysterious, aloof, and indescribable aura emanated from Liu's body. This was chaos. The natural chaos in the bloodline. This was the true Son of Chaos. He was born with the body of chaos, the first step of chaos. I've cultivated for countless years and stumbled my way to the second step of chaos. It turns out that my complete bloodline as the Son of Chaos is born with the body of chaos, the first step of chaos. Liu let out a long breath, his hatred for Celestial Emperor Taixian growing even stronger. Back then, I started as a weakling and racked my brains to get to the second step of chaos. After all this fuss, I was born with the body of chaos, the first step of chaos. My soul has fused again. Unfortunately, my initial consciousness only had 20 years of experience on Earth. Apart from regaining my memories, there was almost no growth in my soul. Although there was no real-time growth, Liu was now at the third step of chaos, the crucial step of transforming his soul into chaos. Retrieving the soul that he had lost back then, Liu's soul was complete. It was also very beneficial for Liu to reach the third step of chaos. Flawless, one true body. As long as I collect the other 3 pearls of origin and open the land of origin, I can reach the third step of chaos and become the new master of chaos. Liu looked up at the void, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Even if Taixian was the one behind this, how could Her Majesty not know? I don't know what you're planning. Now no one can stop me. Reaching the third step of chaos, becoming the master of chaos and ruling over the myriad worlds. This was Liu's goal, and also the most powerful counterattack against those behind the scenes. Just you wait. The time to settle the score is not far away. With a cold snort in his heart, Liu stepped out of the Pearl of Origin, planning to cheat the remaining Celestial Emperors with Tai Su and Tai Hong. Your Majesty, something happened. Celestial Emperor Taichi is missing. Your Majesty, me too. Celestial Emperor Taiyuan is also missing. Suddenly, the anxious voices of the 2 Celestial Emperors sounded in Liu's mind. Chapter 1533. Gone. Liu was taken aback. 2 Celestial Emperors gone? What do you mean? 2 Celestial Emperors gone? Gone missing? Celestial Emperors could go missing? Wasn't this the biggest joke in the universe? Wait. Even the Lord of Chaos could go missing. Was it that strange for 2 Celestial Emperors to go missing? What's going on? In Liu's opinion, Taixian's death must have caused the other Celestial Emperors to feel threatened. They were hiding in some corner, plotting and scheming in secret. Your Majesty, I've found Celestial Emperor Tai Chi's lair. Everything is normal. Even the Pearl of Origin is here. But I can't find Celestial Emperor Tai Chi. Celestial Emperor Tai Hong's voice was panicked. It's the same here. Celestial Emperor Tai Yuan also left the Pearl of Origin here. Apart from his disappearance, nothing else has been touched. Celestial Emperor Tai Su was also nervously reporting. Even the Pearl of Origin is there? Liu was stunned. This was completely different from what he had imagined. If those Celestial Emperors were planning to join forces to deal with Liu, why would they leave the Pearl of Origin there? That was impossible. Could it be bait? Someone imitated my method and used the pearl of origin as bait. Are they planning to use the pearl of origin to trick me? I have the system. I have the proof of chaos, a third-step system in the chaos. That's why I can use this method. You don't have the proof of chaos, so what are you going to use to trick me? Third step? There seems to be something at the third step? Liu suddenly thought of the root of chaos. The Empress controlled the root of chaos, and she also had something at the third step. Moreover, compared to my system, that can only assist, the Empress's root of chaos is extremely lethal. Even Heaven's celestial emperor at the second step was smashed to death by the Empress. Liu was only at the second step. If the Empress could smash Heaven to death, how could she not smash Liu to death? If the Empress was the one who did this, she could just bring the root of chaos and kill me. Why do you have to beat around the bush? Liu frowned and thought for a long time, but he was completely at a loss. No matter what, I have to get the origin pearl back first. Retrieving the origin pearl was the key. After obtaining these 2 pearls of origin, there was only one left. Even if someone wants to use the origin pearls to trick me, I won't have to personally show up when I take back these 2 origin pearls. Celestial Emperor Tai Hong and Celestial Emperor Tai Su both had systems in their mind. Through the system, Liu was also able to control the 2 origin pearls. Tai Su, Tai Hong, take my talismans and refine the 2 origin pearls. Through the system connection, Liu sent a talisman to each of them. As long as the 2 of them inserted this talisman into the origin laws of the origin bead, it would be equivalent to Liu personally refining the origin bead. I don't care what tricks you play. Even if it's a trap, as long as I don't show up personally, you won't be able to trick I. Liu sneered and stopped inside Celestial Emperor Tai Xian's origin pearl. He sat cross-legged in the void and waited for Tai Su and Tai Hong to step into the trap. Yes, Your Majesty. Tai Su and Tai Hong each received Liu's talismans, rushed into the world of the origin pearls, and began refining the 2 origin pearls. After clearing away the traces of other people's refinement and the origin laws of the origin pearls, the 2 of them inserted Liu's talismans into the origin laws of the origin laws. With a soft hum, the origin laws resonated and heaven and earth responded. In just a moment, the 2 origin pearls were completely refined by Liu and officially fell into Liu's hands. There's no trap? The process of retrieving the 2 origin pearls was very easy. There was no resistance at all, and there were no unforeseen circumstances. This made Liu even more puzzled. What kind of trick are you playing? Liu furrowed his brows tightly. When the origin pearls fell into Liu's hands, apart from refining his own soul, Liu also integrated the system into the origin pearls' origin laws of the origin pearls. At this point, even if all the celestial emperors joined forces, they wouldn't be able to take the origin pearls away. Even if the Empress used the root of chaos, which was also at the 3rd step of the chaos, she would only be able to attack the origin pearls at most. Are you deliberately giving me 2 origin pearls? I can get the origin pearls even if you don't give them to me. What are you trying to do by doing this? 9 origin pearls were required to open the origin grounds. Now Liu already had 8 in his hands. He only lacked the last one. Then, the true trap lies within the final pearl of origin? The last origin pearl was in the hands of the Azure Heaven Emperor. The Azure Heaven Great Emperor had long vanished without a trace many years ago. Celestial Emperor Tai Su and the rest didn't know where he was. However, Liu didn't need to find him at all. Liu had already used the root of chaos and the origin of chaos to find the whereabouts of all the origin pearls. In the system's map, 8 of the 9 origin pearls were already glowing white. Only the last one was still glowing red. Liu already knew the location of the last origin pearl, so there was no need to find the Azure Heaven Emperor. Are they going to fight me? Liu took a deep breath and gripped the hilt of the profound amber sword tightly, standing up suddenly. So be it. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The other party was very strong. If they really joined forces, there would be Celestial Emperor Taisu, Celestial Emperor Taiyuan, Celestial Emperor Azure Heaven, and the Empress who wielded the root of chaos. 3 celestial emperors and a terrifyingly powerful empress. They were definitely formidable foes. The proof of chaos versus the root of chaos. They were both at the 3rd step of chaos. Even if the system wasn't used for battle, it was essentially the same. They're all at the same level. No matter how powerful the root of chaos is, it can't destroy the proof of chaos. If I can't kill the system, I can't kill the system host. A cold smile appeared on Li Yu's face. I have many system hosts, and 8 origin pearls as energy sources. I can even pile up a few hosts with the power of the 2nd step of chaos. Although they only had power, and didn't have the comprehension of the 2nd step of chaos, but he had more people. In terms of power, Li Yu only had 1 less celestial emperor than the other. Blessing several system hosts to hold back 1 celestial emperor, no matter what? In the end, we still have to fight? Thinking of the Empress, who was difficult to distinguish between friend and foe, Li Yu had mixed feelings. If the Empress was really hostile and wanted to attack him, she had more opportunities than Celestial Emperor Taixian. Raising the Son of Chaos on the primitive Earth, she could do anything at any time. Why wait until now? What was the Empress trying to do? Chapter 1534. No matter what, I can't let go of the last pearl of origin. Li Yu had already made up his mind. Since he would have to face it sooner or later, he might as well set up his chariot and directly crush it with his army. Then, call for help. Li Yu stepped out of the horizon and stepped into the endless void. In front, Heavenly Emperor Grand Simplicity and Heavenly Emperor Taixian were waiting respectfully in the void, waiting for Li Yu's arrival. Greetings, Your Majesty. The 2 heavenly emperors bowed to Li Yu. Please rise. Reaching out to help the 2 up, Li Yu continued, the 2 of you, there's only the last pearl of origin left now. I've already made up my mind. No matter what difficulties and obstacles there are, I'll fight with them with my army in an open and above-board manner. What do the 2 of you think? We'll follow Your Majesty's instructions. The 2 also knew that this was a critical moment. Victory or defeat, success or failure, it all depended on one move. They were also prepared to go all out. Very good. Li Yu nodded. Success or failure depends on this one move. I'll call for a few more helpers. Let's fight with all our strength. In a battle between Chaos Realm experts, numbers were already meaningless. Li Yu would not call for some army either. Finding a few experts would do. Zhou Yi, Xiao Feng, Li Feiyu, Wang Yu, Xiao Hao, Qi Heng, Gu Chongqing, Lu Ziqing, all of you follow me to battle. With a loud roar, divine brilliance surged across the heavens. Doors of spacetime opened in the void one after another. Figures with vast auras stepped out of the void one after another. Li Yu had 8 pearls of origin in his hands, just enough to augment 8 hosts. Augmenting each host's combat power to the level of Chaos 2nd step. Although there was only strength and lacked great Tao comprehension, the 8 of them were all prodigies and had abundant combat experience. Joining forces, holding back a heavenly emperor was presumably not difficult. Greetings, Heavenly Venerable. The 8 hosts stepped out of the doors of spacetime and bowed to Li Yu. These are the 8 celestial emperors? Tai Su and Tai Hong were dumbfounded when they saw the 8 figures walking out of the gate of time and space and felt the vast aura coming from them. How many trump cards does His Majesty have? To be able to casually summon 8 Heavenly Emperor-level characters? Furthermore, where did these Heavenly Emperor-level characters pop out from? Seeing these hosts, Tai Supreme and Tai Hong's hearts trembled and they became even more respectful to Li Yu. Originally, They thought that they were Li Yu's greatest support. Although he obeyed Li Yu's every command, he was also somewhat proud of himself. At this moment, seeing that Li Yu had casually summoned 8 heavenly emperors, the pride in their hearts had already disappeared. His Majesty Emperor Yu had plenty of people in his hands. If you don't work hard, you won't be able to keep your position. Get up. Li Yu waved his hand and helped everyone up. This time, I summoned all of you because I have encountered a great enemy and need your help. It is our honor to serve you, Heavenly Venerable. Everyone bowed to Li Yu. Heavenly Venerable, wherever your sword points, you are our enemy. Very good. Li Yu nodded in satisfaction. After giving so many opportunities and creating so many hosts, wasn't it just to be used as cannon fodder? Oh, to be used as helpers at the critical moment? System: give everyone Heavenly Emperor-level combat experience. After killing Huang Tian and Tai Xian, their souls were absorbed by the system. It just so happened that the system had scanned and collected their combat experience and turned it into a temporary combat skill to be used on these hosts. With the strength of a Heavenly Emperor level and the combat experience of a Heavenly Emperor level, in terms of combat strength, these people were not much weaker than a Heavenly Emperor. With a buzzing sound, the 8 hosts felt countless battle experiences surge into their minds. These Emperor-level combat experience had completely turned into instinct. The might of a Heavenly Venerable. Everyone understood that this was the power that Li Yu had bestowed to them, and they were even more impressed with Li Yu's unparalleled divine ability. Let's go. Follow me to conquer the world and flatten the heavens. Li Yu waved his hand, led everyone, and charged toward the last pearl of origin majestically. Breaking through the void all the way, Li Yu led the 10 heavenly emperors and rushed to the destination. This is the last pearl of origin? In front of him was a vast expanse of void. In the void, a planet shining with a green radiance floated in the endless void. Yes, a planet. Li Yu had traveled all over the heavens and seen countless worlds. He had even seen 8 pearls of origin worlds. However, this was his first time seeing a world in the form of a planet. Every world, or rather, every plane, they were all in the form of a universe containing countless planets or countless continents. This was the first time he had seen such a pure, one-of-a-kind world made up of a single planet. This last pearl of origin is probably a little special. Li Yu composed himself, and a cold smile appeared on his face. No matter how special it is, no matter how many tricks you have, you can't stop me. Pulling out the profound amber sword, Li Yu pointed it at the planet in front. The enemy is in front. Follow me to flatten the enemy. Kill! A mighty roar shook the heavens and the earth. Li Yu led the 10 heavenly emperors, unleashing endless divine might, and charged toward the planet in front of them. Buzz! When Li Yu and the others rushed out with a roar, the planet in front of them suddenly burst out with a brilliant green radiance. At the beginning of the primordial chaos era, the Tao is first and the Tao is first. Purple Qi comes 30,000 miles from the east, and the first 5,000 years of the Han pass. Amidst the green radiance, an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion stepped out of the planet in front of them, stepping on endless purple Qi, holding a profound amber pagoda in his hand, and a black and white Taiji diagram hovering above his head. At the same time, boundless primal chaos rolled and surged. A stalwart middle-aged man walked out from the planet, holding a trigem Rui scepter in his hand and a primal chaos flag behind him. I am Grand Supreme. Greetings, fellow Taoists. I am Yuanshi. Greetings, fellow Taoists. 2 figures stepped out of the planet and bowed to Li Yu with smiles on their faces. Grand Supreme Elderly Lord? Yuanshi Tianzuan? What's going on? Seeing these 2 figures, Li Yucheng's footsteps paused, and he was dumbfounded. Taichi Celestial Emperor. Taiyuan Celestial Emperor. While Li Yu was in a daze, Tai Supreme and Tai Hong's exclamations had already revealed their identities. Grand Supreme Elderly Lord is Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor? Yuanshi Tianzuan is Tuan's Celestial Emperor? Then, what about Azure Heaven Great Emperor? Is he Tong Tian? Isn't Azure Heaven Great Emperor a woman? Li Yu felt his mind go blank. Grand Supreme? He. Zhou Yi, Xiao Feng, and the others looked at the figure in front of them who called himself Grand Supreme, and then turned to look at Li Yu. They were also dumbfounded. Even celestial masters were called Grand Supreme, and this person was also called Grand Supreme? What was going on? Chapter 1535. At this moment, Li Yu had a feeling of King Husky in his heart. This was Li Gui meeting Li Kue. Fake goods meeting the original genuine goods. Back then, when Li Yu was still a weak chicken, he called himself Grand Supreme. The old Dan, enshrouding the heavens world, could only call himself Dao Da, and did not dare to call himself Grand Supreme. All along, Li Yu had thought that this matter would pass just like this. Unexpectedly, Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor turned out to be Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. Tai Yuan's Celestial Emperor turned out to be Heavenly Lord Yuanshi. This was very awkward, especially when he saw the dumbfounded look on the faces of Zhou Yi, Xiao Feng, and the others. Li Yu felt even more awkward. Grand Supreme, greet His Majesty Emperor Yu. Yuanshi greet His Majesty Emperor Yu. Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor and Tai Yuan's Celestial Emperor didn't seem to have any hostility to Li Yu. Instead, they respectfully saluted Li Yu. The two of you, this is... Li Yu was also a little confused. I brought a group of people here, coming aggressively, obviously to make trouble. Why are you so polite? Your Majesty is the son of Chaos, the heir appointed by the Master of Chaos. This old Taoist and others are waiting here to welcome your Majesty's return. Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor bowed to Li Yu with a smile on his face. Your Majesty, the last pearl of origin is here. Please kindly accept it. Welcome? Kindly accept it? Li Yu furrowed his brows. Was this really a gift? Or was it a scam? His Majesty Emperor Yu, who had been the mastermind behind the scenes for many years, had always believed that one who was unaccountably solicitous was hiding evil intentions. Seeing Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor and Tai Yuan's Celestial Emperor giving gifts, Li Yu always felt uneasy in his heart. Your Majesty, there's no need to worry. Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor, also known as Taishang Laojun, nodded at Li Yu with a smile. Your Majesty, I have met you long ago. At that time, His Majesty changed his name to Glacier Swordsman by Zhe. Does your Majesty remember? Yes. Your Majesty Emperor Yu, your Majesty has seen this old Taoist's premier 9 seals. The primeval Celestial Emperor, also known as the Heavenly Primogenitor, nodded at Li Yu with a smile. It's you? At this moment, Li Yu completely understood. Back then, in the world of Supreme One, Taishang Laojun, Yuanshi Tianzuan, and Tongtian sect leader, in order to obtain the Tao fruit, the three of them severed their karma and sought emptiness. In the end, they transcended that world. So, the so-called transcendence was actually return? The 3 pure ones in that world were their incarnations? Li Yu had always thought that the 3 pure ones in other worlds were the additional selves of some people, the projections of themselves that reflected the heavens. Unexpectedly, the 3 pure ones were the incarnations of Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor and the rest. Your Majesty, you used I's name before. My humble name was borrowed by your Majesty. I am deeply honored. Tai Chi's Celestial Emperor smiled. I only said that poem after hearing it from your Majesty. *T. Can you not talk about this? Life is hard, don't expose it. If you don't talk about this, we can still be good friends. Now that you mention it, how can we have fun? At this moment, Li Yu also felt that Tai Chi Celestial Emperor and Primeval Celestial Emperor in front of him didn't seem to have much malice. If they really had malicious intentions, they would have already done something to Li Yu back when he was still the supreme of the era, right? At that time, Li Yu was still exploring the path of chaos and hadn't even taken the first step into chaos. You are Taishang Laojun, Heavenly Lord Yuanshi, then what about Tong Tian? Is Azure Heaven Emperor Tong Tian? Isn't Azure Heaven a woman? Li Yu raised his eyes to look at the two of them. He was a little curious as to whether that Tong Tian was Qing Tian or not. When I was on a spiritual journey, I met a Buddhist bodhisattva called Guanyin. He was originally a man, but people thought he was a woman. Tai Chi Celestial Emperor didn't answer directly. Instead, he told Li Yu the story of how Guanyin turned from a man to a woman. Okay, I understand. Li Yu shook his head with a smile. People thought that the incarnation of Azure Heaven Emperor was a woman. There was nothing he could do about it. Moreover, in the world of the Sovereign of the World, with Li Yu's realm at that time, it was not strange that he could not see through the identity of heaven-reaching. Are you really here to give me a gift? If that's the case, it would be impolite of me to refuse. Since they were here, whether they were sincere or not, he had to get the Pearl of Origin first. Li Yu waved at Taisu Celestial Emperor. Taisu, go to the Pearl of Origin. Bring me that Pearl of Origin. To be safe, Li Yu didn't want to do it himself. Wasn't it Li Yu's habit to let Taisu test the waters first while he hid behind the scenes? Yes. Essence Supreme bowed and accepted the order, leaping up and flying towards the Pearl of Origin. Li Yu stared at Tai Chi and Taiyuan in front of him, gripping the hilt of his sword and sending a message to his hosts through the system, telling them to stay alert. At this time, he couldn't afford to be careless. In the battle of the Great Tao, it was either life or death. There was only one Lord of Chaos, and Li Yu didn't think that a successor appointed by the Lord of Chaos would make others bow down to him. Huang Tian, Chang Tian, Tai Xian, these people's methods had been proving to Li Yu that the identity of the Son of Chaos didn't have any deterrence. The Son of Chaos was like the crown prince of an ancient dynasty. The other celestial emperors could be seen as ministers. The position of the Lord of Chaos was like the throne. Li Yu said, I'm also an educated person. I know very well how Chaomengda did it. Things went beyond Li Yu's expectations, and it went very smoothly. This planet-sized Pearl of Origin was easily obtained by Li Yu without any obstruction. There's really such a thing? They really don't have any ill intentions towards me? Are they really loyal ministers of the Lord of Chaos? Wholeheartedly assisting the Crown Prince to ascend the throne? This situation made Li Yu, who was full of conspiracy theories, unable to come back to his senses for a while. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Celestial Emperor Tai Chi and Celestial Emperor Taiyuan bowed and congratulated Li Yu. Your Majesty has now gathered 9 Pearls of Origin, and can now open the Origin Land. Open the Origin Land? Yes. Is this their true goal? Li Yu began to have conspiracy theories in his mind again. Only by opening the Origin Land could one officially advance to the 3rd step of chaos. So, they want me to open the Origin Land? The one to ascend the throne was the Crown Prince, but the one in power wasn't necessarily the Emperor. By analogy, the one to open the Origin Land was Li Yu, but the one to ascend to the 3rd step of chaos might not necessarily be Li Yu. No matter what, the final battle is still strength. Even if Her Majesty and that Azure Heaven Emperor are still hiding behind the scenes, who will win and who will lose will only be known after a fight. With an idea in mind, Li Yu decided to open the Origin Land immediately and see what was in this Origin Land. Today was the year-end assessment of the city's education system, accompanying the leaders to inspect the work. It was really too busy. Only 2 chapters, please forgive me. Chapter 1536. As expected, This origin pearl is rather unique. With the last origin pearl in hand, Li Yu finally turned his attention to this planet-sized origin pearl. A lotus seed? At this moment, Li Yu had already seen the essence of this origin pearl and understood the essence of all origin pearls. Lotus seeds. 9 origin pearls were 9 lotus seeds. The planet-sized pearl of origin was, in fact, a lotus seed that had yet to develop a world. So all origin pearls are lotus seeds? Li Yu's mind was filled with shock. A lotus seed was the so-called origin pearl. A lotus seed could open up a vast and boundless world. If the origin pearl was a lotus seed, then what was the origin ground? A lotus flower? Or a lotus seed pod? Since he had already come this far, he had to open the origin ground first. 9 star pearls in alignment, open the gate of origin. Li Yu ordered his subordinates to stand guard around him as he stepped onto the planet-like pearl of origin in front of him. Vast divine light poured into the planet below. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Dazzling divine light soared into the sky, transforming into a dazzling pillar of light that pierced through space. Bang! 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 In the endless void, 8 consecutive loud booms resounded. Far away in space, the other 8 origin pearls exploded with dazzling divine light as pillars of light pierced through space and connected with each other. A few moments later, a dazzling formation appeared in the boundless void. This was a massive formation composed of 9 origin pearls. Rumble! The formation exploded with dazzling divine light, shaking spacetime and the myriad worlds. At this moment, all the countless worlds in the primal chaos were enveloped by this dazzling light. The divine light illuminated the heavens, illuminating the entire primal chaos. A gate had appeared. Amidst the dazzling divine radiance that penetrated the entire chaotic void, a huge, boundless door slowly rose from the radiance. Majestic and majestic, divine and glorious. When the door appeared, an aura that was above the myriad of worlds spread out. It was as if it was the source of everything, the beginning of everything. Feeling this aura, everyone present, even the people of the Heavenly Emperor realm, all felt a sense of worship. As for the countless beings in the universe, they all knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the door that appeared in the void. That was the origin. The reverence that came from their lives and souls made all living beings in the universe understand that this was the source of everything the moment they saw this door. Is this the aura of the Chaos Sovereign? Li Yu looked up at the majestic door and felt the aura of the origin. His blood and soul trembled as if they were resonating and cheering. The origin ground, could it be the place where the Chaos Sovereign fell? This aura was clearly the aura of the 3rd step of the Chaos realm. It was an aura that was above everything, as if it was the source of everything. The theory that the Lord of Chaos created the world did not seem unreasonable. Was the endless space-time of the myriad worlds really created by the Lord of Chaos? Li Yu lifted his feet and slowly walked in the direction of the door. 1 step, 1 step. He walked very slowly and solemnly. In front of this door, Li Yu could only walk step by step. He could not use the ability to break through the void at all. The origin ground is about to open. What is the mastermind scheming? It has reached a critical moment. Li Yu secretly raised his guard and tightly gripped the hilt of his sword. He secretly sent a message to his subordinates, telling them to prepare to meet the enemy. Step by step, dazzling divine splendor condensed under Li Yu's feet, turning into a golden path. Along this golden path, Li Yu walked step by step toward the origin gate. The expected attack did not come. When Li Yu walked in front of the origin gate, the path was very smooth. There was no obstruction at all, only a clear sound that was louder than the previous. The celestial sound lingered in the air, mysterious and aloof. The clear sound was melodious and pleasing to the ear, as if it was cheering for Li Yu's arrival. They actually haven't made their move yet? Li Yu was a little surprised. Could it be that they will wait until I actually open the origin gate before they make their move? If that's the case, what do I have to fear? Liu took a deep breath, slowly raised his arm, and pressed it on the origin gate. This was a door formed by light and did not seem to be material. However, when Liu's palm came into contact with the door, it actually gave birth to a material feeling, as if it was a heavy door. At the beginning of the chaos, Yin and Yang appeared, heaven and earth were born together. Suddenly, when Liu's palm came into contact with the door, a vast and mighty light soared into the sky, and a long chant resounded through the clouds. These words, why do they sound so familiar? Liu was stunned. This is clearly the poetic proclamation that I often recite. You're pirating it, do you know that? Looking up at the brilliant door in front of him, Liu's mouth twitched fiercely a few times. When I was still a weakling, I pirated the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. You, the Lord of Chaos, are actually pirating my poetic proclamation? Is it fun to play with people? Liu was not surprised that the Lord of Chaos knew this poetic proclamation. With the Lord of Chaos's realm, he naturally saw through time and saw through the past and the future. It was not strange that he knew Liu's poetic proclamation. The poetic proclamation has read my name, which means that I, the Son of Chaos, am the destined one, the master of the land of origin. No wonder the celestial emperors said that the Son of Chaos was the key. Other than Liu, no one else would be able to open this door. This was because he heard a voice coming from the door. Bloodline test passed. Soul test passed. Authority test passed. Identity confirmed. The origin gate is in a sealed state. If you want to open the origin gate, please show the proof of chaos. Hearing the prompt from the origin gate, Liu thought, as expected, it really is the key. If Liu did not come in person, no one could open this door. Because, apart from Liu, no one had the proof of chaos, which was also the system. System, connect to the origin gate. Show the proof of chaos. With a thought, Liu gave the system an order. Hum, a trembling sound rang out, and the system, in Liu's mind, suddenly turned into a huge Ouroboros symbol. The head and tail were connected, without beginning or end. A ray of light rushed up, and the Ouroboros symbol was imprinted on the origin gate. Proof of chaos discovered, origin gate opened. With a loud rumble, the heavens shook. This gate that had been sealed for endless years finally opened. Chapter 1537. The Gate of Origin has opened. At this moment, boundless divine light illuminated the heavens. The entire chaotic void was illuminated by the radiance released by the Gate of Origin. Seeing the slowly opening door and sensing the aura of origin contained within the door, countless beings in the universe prostrated themselves in worship. Sovereign! The celestial emperors present hurriedly prostrated themselves on the ground when they saw the sovereign's aura gushing out from the slowly opening door. However, when Liu saw the Gate of Origin, he was already dumbfounded. This is the Gate of Origin? Are you King kidding me? Through the open door, Liu saw the scene of the Gate of Origin. 9 enormous continents floated in the boundless void. The continents, from high to low, were scattered all over the place. A mighty heavenly river surged out from the continent at the top. As if the heavenly river was hanging upside down, it fell into the continent below and formed a huge waterfall with 9 levels. A towering world tree pierced through the 9 continents and stood tall in the void. On the continent at the very top, auspicious light lingered and propitious energy surged. A bronze immortal residence was faintly discernible. The entire Gate of Origin was filled with immortal light and dense spiritual energy. It was like an immortal palace. However, Liu was all too familiar with this so-called Gate of Origin. Isn't this my immortal residence space? Isn't this my home? This place is actually the Gate of Origin? Liu was dumbfounded. I've spent so much effort, killing people along the way, tricking people along the way. It wasn't easy for me to gather 9 origin pearls and open the origin grounds. In the end, your King telling me that the so-called gate of origin is my home? I can easily go home with a single step. Why would I need to do this damned mission? What kind of joke is this? The so-called gate of origin is a joke? A joke played by the Lord of Chaos? There's no gate of origin at all? In the end, the Lord of Chaos is telling everyone that I'm just messing with you? The Immortal Mansion space was the mall space opened by the system. In the past, the system had told Li Yu that this mall space was Li Yu's foundation, Li Yu's origin. Li Yu believed it. Then, for many years, he plundered everywhere and built this nest with his own hands. Only now did Li Yu realize that this so-called foundation was actually this? I created a space for myself, and then it became the origin ground of the primal chaos sovereign? This was King ridiculous. Well, Li Yu was already at a loss for words. There was no way to describe his feelings at this moment. What happened to the promised land of origin? What happened to the third step of chaos? What happened to inheriting the position of the master of chaos? Was it fun to play with people like this? What a bastard! Li Yu roared and kicked the gate of origin heavily, causing the door to rumble. The origin of the rolling Motherf Cur. The third step of chaos. The rolling Motherf Cur. Go to hell, all of you! Jumping up and down, Li Yu swung his sleeves and turned to leave. This King origin ground. Whoever wants to go can go. I'm not playing anymore. Your Majesty? Your Majesty? Why don't you go in? All of the hosts and the Celestial Arch were astonished to see Li Yu return in a huff. They didn't know what had happened. Your Majesty, this is the origin ground. The secret to the third step of chaos lies here. This is the key to becoming the master of chaos. Why did you? Celestial Emperor Tai Su asked Li Yu with a puzzled face. Yes, Your Majesty, you finally opened the gate of origin. Why don't you go in and inherit the power of the Master of Chaos? Why don't you inherit the position of the Master of Chaos? Celestial Emperor Tai Hong was also confused. Your Majesty, is there something wrong with the origin ground? Celestial Emperor Tai Chi and Celestial Emperor Tai Yuan also looked at Li Yu in shock, not knowing what was going on. What the hell is the origin ground? What the hell is the third step of chaos? What the hell is the position of the Master of Chaos? It's all King lie. Li Yu shouted angrily, we've been fooled. There's no origin ground at all. We've all been fooled. There's no origin ground? Fooled. Everyone looked at each other. No way? That's impossible, right? You don't believe me? Li Yu pursed his lips and pointed at the gate of origin. The gate is open. Why don't you go and take a look? You're allowing us to go? You're allowing us to go? The Celestial Emperors were so shocked that their jaws dropped. Entering the origin ground was an opportunity to advance to the third step of chaos and become the Master of Chaos. His Majesty actually gave up such an opportunity? Go. Go. All of you go. Let's go together. Li Yu waved his hand in annoyance. If that's the case, we'll go. After hesitating for a moment, Tai Su, Tai Hong, Tai Chi, and Tai Yuan, the 4 Celestial Emperors bowed to Li Yu and rushed towards the origin ground. A moment later, the 4 of them rushed into the origin ground. How could this be? This is just an ordinary world. Even if the spiritual energy is abundant, it has no value to us. It's really a lie? The 4 Celestial Emperors shouted in disbelief from the gate of origin. Hey! Who are you people? Why did you barge into our home? This is His Majesty Emperor Yu's immortal residence. Where are you from? How dare you barge into His Majesty Emperor Yu's immortal residence? How dare you? Why aren't you backing down? Just as the 4 Celestial Emperors were shouting, Kai led the ladies of the immortal residence and rushed out from the immortal residence of the top continent, blocking everyone. His Majesty Emperor Yu's immortal residence? Hey! Don't attack. Ladies, please don't attack. We are His Majesty Emperor Yu's subordinates. We are on the same side. Don't attack. After a moment of chaos, the 4 celestial emperors ran out of the Gate of Origin in a sorry state. Thief! Where are you running to? How dare you pretend to be His Majesty's subordinates? How can we not know His Majesty's subordinates? How dare you barge into the harem? Even if you are really His Majesty's subordinates, we can't let you go. Sisters, beat them. A burst of shouts sounded. Kai led the ladies, waving all kinds of weapons and magic treasures, and chased all the way out of the Gate of Origin. Your Majesty, save us! Your Majesty, save us! Being chased by His Majesty's harem, how could they dare to fight back? The celestial emperors could only shout for help and flee. His Majesty is also here? They are really His Majesty's subordinates. When the ladies saw Li Yu in the void in front of them, they quickly put away their weapons and put away their fierce appearance. One by one, they lowered their eyebrows and looked dignified and virtuous. Now, do you know what is going on in the land of origin? The corner of Li Yu's mouth twitched. This is my King home. When did my home become the land of origin? Chapter 1538. I'm afraid, this is really a joke by the Lord of Chaos. Tai Su, Tai Hong, Tai Chi, and Tai Yuan, the 4 celestial emperors sighed helplessly. For countless years, the various celestial emperors had racked their brains to think of ways to enter the land of origin. However, this so-called land of origin was actually such a thing? Tai Chi and Tai Yuan, the 2 loyal subjects of the Lord of Chaos, were slightly better. They protected the Son of Chaos and did not have any ideas about the land of origin. Tai Su and Tai Hong were depressed in their hearts. However, compared to Chang Tian, Huang Tian, and Tai Xian, those 3 unlucky fellows, Tai Su and Tai Hong felt much better in their hearts. Forget it! Forget it! Everyone disperse! The land of origin was just such a plaything. It had no value at all. Li Yu waved at everyone with waning interest. Everyone go back! Yes, we will take our leave. The various hosts from various worlds had originally thought that there would be a huge battle waiting for them. In the end, they had rushed over excitedly and did nothing. After bowing to Li Yu, the various hosts returned to their respective worlds. We will also take our leave. The 4 celestial emperors sighed, bowed to Li Yu, and also took their leave. Your Majesty, just now what happened? Kai walked over with the other girls and asked Li Yu. Nothing, I was just fooled by someone. Li Yu shook his head gloomily. Forget it, everyone, go back first. Waving his hands to send the girls back, Li Yu walked to the side of the Gate of Origin and sat down cross-legged. His heart was filled with depression. What the hell is going on? Lord of Chaos, is it fun for you to fool people like this? Li Yu leaned on the door frame gloomily. The depression in his heart was simply indescribable. It has always been me tricking people, it has always been me fooling people. Who would have thought that today, I would be fooled so ruthlessly by the Lord of Chaos? Just as Li Yu was feeling gloomy, an unforeseen event suddenly occurred. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion in the void. A green radiance surged out, covering the sky and earth. As the green radiance flashed, a huge green stick covered with spikes pierced through the endless void. Before Li Yu could react, this huge green stick, through the open Gate of Origin, piercing into the immortal mansion space. Damn it! Li Yu roared and suddenly rushed forward. The profound yellow sword in his hand left its scabbard and heavily hacked in the direction where the green stick was coming from. Li Yu didn't care about the Gate of Origin. However, the land of origin was Li Yu's own immortal estate. This green rod was the root of chaos at the 3rd step of the primal chaos, So how terrifying was its might! The stick pierced into the space of a mortal mansion. Under the attack of the root of chaos, could the women of a mortal mansion still survive? It's not to harm's family. The Empress actually used the power of the third step of chaos to attack Sai and the others? The fury in Li Yu's heart was about to burst through the sky. Go to hell! Li Yu roared crazily. His eyes were red. As if he had gone mad, he swung the Heaven Origin sword and rushed toward the Empress. After cultivating for so long, he couldn't even protect the people around him. What was the use of his cultivation? He had been cautious all the way. He had been the mastermind behind the scenes. He had cheated all the people around him, but in the end, even the people around him had been killed. Why was he still being cautious? He was really afraid of death. He was not fighting hard enough. He lacked the will to fight to the death. But now, he was not lacking. The anger was burning in his heart, and blood was surging in his heart. At this moment, Li Yu had already thrown everything aside. There was no more scheming in his heart, no more caution. There was only hot-bloodedness, a heart full of anger, and a heart full of resoluteness. Wasn't it just fighting to the death? Who didn't know how to fight to the death? So what if the root of chaos was at the third step of chaos? So what if you were strong? I don't even want my life. Why would I be afraid of you? Go to hell for me. Li Yu's eyes were surging with anger. He roared and rushed toward the noblewoman in the sky. He brandished his sword and rushed toward her. You should learn to be respectful in front of me. The woman looked coldly at Li Yu. Her eyes were full of disdain. Son of chaos, you are nothing in front of me. She stretched out her hand, and a vast and mighty green light flashed. The woman raised the origin of chaos again. Do you see? This is the power of the third step of chaos. She waved her hand, and the huge green stick was swung toward Li Yu's head. Boom! The void shattered. Space and time collapsed. Everything in the path of the huge green stick was turned into nothingness. Go to hell! Li Yu's eyes were red as he roared in anger. The Emperor Yu Bel, the heavenly worthy seal, and the Heaven Origin sword rushed out at the same time, and fiercely attacked the huge green stick. Boom! There was a loud sound, and the heaven and earth shook. Under this attack, the Emperor Yu Bel, the heavenly worthy seal, and the Heaven Origin sword that Li Yu had used were suddenly crushed by the origin of chaos. This was the power of the third step of chaos. The three magic treasures that had followed Li Yu for countless years were crushed into nothingness under this attack. Bang! The huge green stick, which had not lost its momentum, heavily smashed onto Li Yu's body, and there was a violent explosion. Puff! Li Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. He was sent flying for hundreds of millions of miles by the aftershock of the huge green stick, and he kept spitting out blood. You can't even withstand a single blow. The woman shook her head in disdain. Your strength is not even comparable to an ant in front of me. Without the third step of chaos, I can kill you with just one blow. Bitch, go to hell. He had lost 3 treasures in one blow, and he was seriously injured. However, Li Yu did not show any signs of retreating. The anger in his heart surged fiercely, and he attacked the woman with his bare hands. Sovereign seal. The vast and mighty chaotic radiance condensed in Li Yu's hand, and turned into a huge palm that could hold up the sky. He then fiercely slammed it towards the goddess. Is that all you've got? The goddess sneered disdainfully. She only waved her hand, and the huge green stick swept out, and a vast and majestic power gushed out. Boom! The green light annihilated Li Yu's sovereign seal. The aftershock was like a raging tide, and it fiercely hit Li Yu's body. Puff! Li Yu spat out a mouthful of blood, and he was sent flying again. Do you feel despair? Do you feel helpless? The women around you have all died in my hand. Do you feel anger? Pain? Hatred? Unfortunately, it's meaningless. The goddess's face was filled with a sinister smile. She slowly raised the huge green stick, and pointed it at Li Yu. Without the power of the third step of chaos, you have no power to resist. Under this blow, you will die without a doubt. Vast and mighty green light shone on the root of chaos. The goddess raised the huge green stick in her hand high up, and the power to annihilate everything gathered on the huge stick. This blow was bound to destroy the heavens and earth. This blow was bound to annihilate everything. Under this blow, even if Li Yu was already at the second step of chaos, he would definitely die without a trace. Without the third step of chaos, I can't beat you? Li Yu clenched his fists tightly. His eyes flashed with anger, and his heart was filled with despair. Isn't it just the third step of chaos? Isn't it just deifying chaos? I've long known the way to deify chaos, but I haven't found a way to preserve my own existence. Now, even if I lose my consciousness, even if I lose my memories, I will definitely remember. I will kill you. Chapter 1539. Anger and hatred filled his heart. At this moment, Li Yu no longer had any hesitation. There was no more overcautious, no more cautious. There was only unswerving determination, only absolute determination. Revenge. Revenge for Tsai and the rest. Intense anger and extreme hatred filled Li Yu's heart with the determination to die. My heart is like fire. Burn. Boom! His divine soul suddenly shook and burned like a raging fire. Burning the body. Burning the cultivation. Burning the divine soul. The raging flames soared into the sky, burning the 8 wastelands and the void. This was the flame of life. This was the flame of the soul. This was the flame that contained Li Yu's determination to die. With my heart, turn into a raging flame, burn everything and become chaos. Li Yu opened his arms. His entire body was burning with blazing flames. His entire body and divine soul were burning rapidly in this raging flame. His body was constantly dissipating, his vitality was constantly dissipating, and his divine soul was also constantly dissipating. In the end, everything returned to chaos. The flame disappeared. Li Yu also disappeared. Between heaven and earth, there was only a piece of nothingness. It was as if the figure named Li Yu, from now on, would never exist between heaven and earth. Has he finally reached this step? The Empress tightly held the giant green stick in her hand. Her body trembled slightly, as if she was very excited and nervous. Between heaven and earth, there was a dead silence. In the empty void there was nothingness. There was nothing. Nothing existed. It was as if Li Yu had burned himself into nothingness. Failed? How could it be? How could it be? He obviously... The Empress' body trembled even more violently. Her face was pale, and her expression was extremely terrified. The giant green stick in her hand could not be held steadily. This peerless treasure of the third step of chaos was actually thrown aside like this. How could it fail? How could it fail? Come back. Come back for me. You come back for me. 2 lines of tears rolled down the Empress' eyes. She raised her head and roared as if she had gone mad. However, there was only nothingness in the void. That existence called Li Yu seemed to have disappeared forever. In fact, Li Yu also felt as if he no longer existed. Void. Endless nothingness. Nothing could be seen, nothing could be touched, nothing could be heard, and nothing could be felt. In fact, he couldn't even sense his own existence. If not for the fact that his consciousness still existed, Li Yu would have thought that he had completely disappeared. I think, therefore I am. I'm still thinking, I'm still conscious, I'm still alive. In the void, Li Yu's consciousness flashed. Boom. At this moment, Li Yu's consciousness suddenly exploded with a bright light. An Ouroboros mark lit up in Li Yu's consciousness. The head and tail were connected, without beginning or end. The beginning was the end, and the end was the beginning. Time, space, matter, energy, order, law, everything was condensed in the Ouroboros that was connected from head to tail. Everything turned into nothingness and chaos. Proof of chaos. This was the system. Ultimate authority mission completed. Ultimate authority activated. Welcome back, O great ruler. A cold and rigid voice sounded in Liyu's consciousness. With a loud boom, the huge Ouroboros suddenly exploded, turning into a formless and indescribable aura that instantly merged into Liyu's consciousness. At this moment, Liyu discovered that his consciousness was expanding without limit. His consciousness pierced through time, space, fate, cause and effect, all order and laws, and all matter and energy. All the worlds in the universe, endless time and space. Everything was enveloped by Liyu's consciousness. Plane after plane, void after void, world after world, countless living beings, endless heaven and earth, everything was under Liyu's control. World creation with a thought. World destruction with a thought. All living beings in the universe, their life and death, their honor and disgrace, their success and failure, were all under Liyu's control. Supremacy. I, the unique and righteous. This was the ruler. This was the third step of chaos. This was the origin of all the worlds in the universe. At this moment, Liyu saw the Empress. He also saw the Grand Simplicity Sky Emperor and the others, and even he saw Tsai and the others in the immortal mansion space. Tsai and the others did not die. The Empress did not really attack them at all. I see. So, you've done so much just to let me advance to the third step of chaos? Liyu felt helpless. Without the Empress giving him this strong medicine, with Liyu's cautious temperament, he did not know how long it would take for him to have such a resolute heart, to face death and live, to truly step into the third step of chaos. There was great terror between life and death. Who would have known that to truly step into the third step of chaos, one had to die once first? Life originated from chaos. To go against the heavens and turn into chaos, one naturally had to eliminate life. Only by dying once and removing the concept of life, could one truly turn into chaos. As for without life, what would Liyu do? That was naturally, at the beginning of chaos, yin and yang appeared, heaven and earth black and yellow chi were born. In the void a mighty song sounded, an endless brilliance illuminated the entire world. It was a ray of light, the first ray of light at the beginning of chaos. God said, "Let there be light." So there was light. The first ray of light born in the void of chaos represented the beginning of everything. It was the light of Taisher. The law was born from this. There was Taiji, which gave birth to yin and yang. After the light of Taisher was born, yin and yang manifested, and yin and yang circulated. The light of Taisher instantly turned into yin and yang chi of black and white. Opposition and unity. Yin and yang intersected, black and white alternated, and all order and law were born at the intersection of yin and yang. This was Taiji. The law penetrated all the worlds in the universe, penetrated all space-time. The law that belonged to Liyu was born here. Heaven and earth black and yellow, the universe desolate. After the yin and yang chi were born, the law was established, and the black and yellow chi that represented matter was born in the law. Black and yellow beginning, the mother of all things. All the worlds in the universe, all space-time, all matter and energy were instantly enveloped by this black and yellow chi. In just an instant, all the matter and energy in the universe turned into Liyu's matter and energy. This was the ruler of chaos. This was the origin of everything. Everything in the universe originated from the ruler of chaos, and it also belonged to the ruler of chaos. I control the heavens, control the heavenly fate, and uphold the heavenly laws. I am the only ruler in the universe. At this moment, all the living beings in the universe inexplicably felt a great existence. That was the origin of everything. That was the origin of all living beings and all things. That was the ruler of chaos. Greetings, ruler of chaos. The universe bowed, and all living beings bowed their heads. At this moment, Liu officially stepped into the third step of chaos and became the ruler of chaos, becoming the ruler of the universe. Courting death. Today's update actually failed to pass the review. Taking a closer look, it turned out that Liu had called the Empress Little Ping. He had courted death. I'm changing it. I'll release the changed version first. I'll wait for the rest. Chapter 1540. Although I'm already the ruler of the chaos, I still have many doubts. Endless light shone, and Liu's figure reappeared from the chaos. Life originated from the chaos. At this moment, Liu's essence had become the origin of all order and laws, all matter and energy. Reproducing a life form from the chaos was much easier than reversing the chaos from a life form. With just a thought, Liu could once again transform from the chaos into a normal body. You're finally back. Seeing Liu reappear, the Empress trembled with excitement, tears rolling down her face. Ruler, you're finally back. That's great. That's really great. Back? Liu raised his brows, glanced at the Empress, and shook his head. You seem to be mistaken. The Empress didn't really hurt Sai and the others, and Liu didn't have any hatred for her. Strictly speaking, Liu was raised by the Empress when he was on Earth. His advancement to the third step of the chaos was also forced by the Empress. How could I be mistaken? Of course I'm not mistaken. The Empress smiled sweetly and waved her hand. In a flash of green light, the root of chaos fell into her hand. Your Majesty, please follow me. The green cudgel in her hand trembled slightly, and a rainbow bridge condensed from green light crossed the sky, piercing through space and time, connecting to an indescribable space. Where is that? Liu looked up and saw the space that the root of chaos connected to and frowned slightly. He had already become the ruler of the universe, and all space-time was under Liu's control. However, the space that the Empress had just opened was actually not under Liu's control. This greatly surprised Liu. This place was once called the Origin Land. The Empress looked up at the space with a complicated expression, as if she was reminiscing and reminiscing. The Origin Land, the corners of Liu's mouth twitched when he heard the words, Origin Ground. Playing with people once was enough. Do it again? Are you done yet? Why is my immortal estate also the place of origin? Why is my home the place of origin opened by the 9 pearls of origin? This question had been stuck in his heart for a long time. Liu turned his head and asked the goddess. You are the ruler of all worlds. You are the origin of everything. Your home is naturally the place of origin. The answer Her Highness gave was simply too correct. Liu was left speechless. Then Liu pointed at the space opened by the root of chaos. Is that the former home of the Lord of Chaos? So, that place was once the land of origin? No. That was your former home. Her Majesty smiled and gestured to Liu. Your Majesty, please. My former home, Liu frowned. All right, let's take a look first. The meaning behind the Empress's words caused Liu to have an uncomfortable guess. From the sound of it, it seemed that Liu was the former Lord of Chaos? I am me. I will never be anyone else. Liu clenched his fists and snorted coldly in his heart. At his current level, he was the sole ruler of all worlds. Even against the former Lord of Chaos, Liu had enough confidence. Your Majesty, please. The Empress was one step ahead. She led Liu along the bridge of blue light, all the way to that inexplicable space. Stepping into the space, there was nothing in front of him. There was only a pure white palace floating in the endless void. When Liu saw this white palace, he suddenly sensed that there was another existence in this palace. A vine. A green vine that looked like it was carved from jade and exuded exuberant vitality. Li Yu was shocked when he saw this vine. He hurriedly leaped out and landed in the white jade palace. A vine. A vine as green as jade. Li Yu was extremely familiar with this vine. Ting Qing? Yu, why are you here? Li Yu was flabbergasted. His consciousness reached out to the immortal residence dimension, only to discover that the Ting Qing in the garden was still happily serving as a gardener. But the vine in front of him was definitely Ting Qing as well. Given Li Yu's current level, there was no way he could mistake someone else for someone else. She's called Qingtian, my older sister. I'm called Pingtian. Her Majesty walked to Li Yu's side and smiled as she explained to Li Yu. Then she looked up at the vine. Sister, do you see this? My method is the correct one. You spent countless years trying to get the Lord of Chaos to return. Now I've succeeded. The Lord of Chaos has returned. A soft chuckle suddenly sounded from the green vine. The vines wriggled and unfurled, and bright flowers bloomed on them. They seemed to be cheering, confiding, and welcoming Li Yu's arrival. You are definitely Ting Qing. Li Yu looked at the vine in front of him and sighed helplessly. He turned to the Majesty. Qingtian is Ting Qing. There's no way I'm mistaken. What's going on here? It's a long story. The Majesty smiled. Does your Majesty still remember how Ting Qing appeared? How did Ting Qing appear? Li Yu frowned. In the mortal world, Li Yu had fused the profound sky's fairy vine with the heaven-wielding bottle's artifact spirit to give birth to Ting Qing. Li Yu had personally created her, so he naturally wouldn't forget. But what other secrets were there in this? I'm called Pingtian. Your Majesty, please take a look. That's my true body. The Majesty pointed at a suet jade bottle in the middle of the palace. I'm the first treasure the Lord of Chaos refined back then. I'm also the second life born in the chaos. With that, she pointed at the green vine coiling around the palace. Sister is called Qingtian. She's that vine. The first life the Lord of Chaos created. The Majesty smiled and continued. Sister separated her true spirit from her true body and transformed into the profound sky's fairy vine. She's always been by your Majesty's side. As for me, I've been standing guard here, waiting for your Majesty's return. Is that so? Li Yu nodded. Back when he'd gotten Ting Qing out, her realm had still been low. Naturally, he couldn't tell that this was the work of a second-step chaos existence. No wonder Ting Qing hadn't been willing to transform. Her true body was still here. If she wanted to transform, she could only do so with her true body. The profound sky's fairy vine wasn't Ting Qing's true body. One last question. Li Yu turned to look at the Majesty with a serious expression. What's my relationship with the Lord of Chaos? What relationship? The Majesty laughed. Your Majesty, aren't you the Lord of Chaos? There's only one Lord. From beginning to end, there's only ever been one Lord. The Lord can only ever be yourself. Myself. Li Yu opened his mouth, speechless for a long time. But since I'm the Lord of Chaos, why did I do this again? Just for fun? Chapter 1541. For what? The Empress shook her head with a smile, then sent the root of chaos into the void. Rumble! A loud sound rang out, shaking the heaven and earth. Radiance filled the sky as the white jade palace rose higher and higher, instantly reaching the apex of the universe. Your Majesty, please follow me. The Empress gestured with her hand, then led Li Yu out of the palace and onto the steps outside the palace gates. A jade-green vine swayed as it followed Li Yu to the steps. Standing on the steps and looking down, Li Yu saw the scene of the universe. It was a flower. It was a gigantic and boundless white lotus. At the center was a lotus pod. 9 lotus seeds grew from the pod. Those lotus seeds were none other than the 9 origin pearls. Outside the pod, there were layers upon layers of petals. There were 9 layers of petals. Each petal was formed from countless worlds and planes. 9 layers of petals, 9 layers of realms. Back then, the 9 celestial emperors each controlled a layer of realms, which was also a layer of petals. Below the petals, there was a green root covered in sharp thorns. This root was the root of chaos. Outside the lotus petals, there was another petal scattered. On these scattered petals, Liu could already see the various worlds that he had experienced. These scattered petals were the lost plains, which were the various worlds that Liu had visited over the years. Before heaven and earth were born, there was only a patch of chaos in the void. There was nothing. The Empress pointed at the world lotus below and said to Liu, "One day, this patch of chaos suddenly gave birth to a consciousness. Thus, the sovereign appeared. The sovereign existed alone for countless years. Then, the sovereign felt that he was too lonely. This world was too monotonous. Thus, he created Tingqing, me, and the other celestial emperors. In fact, he even created the myriad worlds and created countless lives. This world was born. Alright, this is the story of the sovereign's creation." Liu nodded and looked at the Empress. "But what does this have to do with me? The sovereign had created the world, and his virtues had reached perfection. Isn't it great that everyone is living happily? Why did he disappear?" Liu felt that the sovereign's act of disappearing was far too foolish. How bored must one be to want to delete one's account and start over? That's the problem. The goddess shook her head helplessly. The sovereign created the world, and the myriad realms in the universe are filled with vitality. We all feel that following the hegemon and controlling the heavens is a wonderful thing. However, there was a crucial problem. That is, the sovereign is merely a consciousness born from the primordial chaos. He created countless lives, but he himself is not a living being. He is high above, and he controls the heavens. He is the embodiment of all holiness and greatness. He is the embodiment of all order and laws. However, he has no emotions. He has no joy, anger, sorrow, or joy. He has no 7 emotions and 6 desires. He has no love, hate, or sorrow. At this point, the goddess turned to look at Liu, her eyes flashing with joy. Thus, the sovereign severed his own body and used his true soul to reincarnate into the son of primordial chaos, which is you. You are the sovereign. You are the perfect, flawless sovereign who possesses emotions. The true sovereign. The goddess reached out and grabbed Liu's hand, her face beaming. After waiting for countless years, you have finally returned. My sovereign, my lover. The jade-green vines spiraled up and gently wrapped around Liu's body. Pure white flowers bloomed one after another, like smiling faces. So, the root of all this is that the sovereign of primordial chaos no longer wishes to be the embodiment of the laws of the Grand Tao. He wishes to be a new person? Liu opened his mouth and was speechless for a long time. What the hell, after all this fuss, it was really tricking himself and playing himself? What true master of the system, hidden mastermind behind the scenes, it was all me. When tricking others, I even tricked myself. Indeed, this was very Liu. Helplessly shaking his head, Liu could only accept reality. There was no reincarnation of the old devil, no reincarnation of the previous sovereign. There was only playing himself and tricking himself. This was really, 2F*, King speechless. A consciousness born from primordial chaos, Liu was primordial chaos to begin with. There was no obstacle in advancing to the 3rd step of primordial chaos because he was primordial chaos to begin with. Therefore, all his previous thoughts were wrong. There was no need to sever his body and transform it into primordial chaos. There was no need to transform his vital energy or divine soul into primordial chaos. He only needed to stand up and shout, "I am primordial chaos," and he would become primordial chaos. He only needed to stand up and shout, "I am the sovereign," and he would become the sovereign. After struggling for countless years, risking his life, living in fear and trepidation. He had finally reached this stage with great difficulty. Actually, it was all his own fault. He had played himself so miserably. He was clearly an emotionless consciousness of primordial chaos, so why was he so good at tricking others? Was this the nature of His Majesty Emperor Yu? So, the final outcome is the sovereign and his harem living happily together? Li Yu waved his hand, and the immortal mansion broke through the air and entered this space. Radiance intertwined as the current origin ground and the former origin ground fused. The past and the future became one. Your Majesty, we're here. Kai Yi Xieling, Pan Shi, Jin Kai, Wang Shu, Ting Ting, Yin Luo, and Ting Qing, who hadn't transformed, as well as Mother Empress Bai Yin, who didn't have any scenes, ran out of the immortal mansion. He, scoundrel, I can finally transform. Ting Qing transformed into a streak of green light and landed on the vines in the white jade palace. Green light filled the sky, and a beautiful woman wearing a green dress stepped out. Greetings, Your Majesty. The group of orioles and swallows bowed to Li Yu with smiles on their faces. They were so charming and beautiful that nothing could be imagined. No wonder I've been single for so many years. No wonder I'm still single even after opening a harem. The sovereign of primordial chaos's emotionlessness had some effect on me. But now, from now on, the sovereign won't attend morning court. Li Yu laughed loudly, grabbed the group of beauties, and rushed into the palace. What happened afterwards was indescribable. Sleeping together was a blessing for all. Monkey Sun said, "Vixen, eat my staff." Your Majesty, what are you planning to do? After fooling around for a while, Li Yu walked out of the palace and came to the steps of the white jade palace. He raised his head and looked at the world lotus below. Kai Yi took a piece of clothing and put it on Li Yu's body. She asked Li Yu curiously, "Scam? Oh, I'm just giving someone an opportunity." Li Yu chuckled. He reached out and grabbed a streak of white light from the world lotus below. He reached out and grabbed it, and it turned into a ball of white light. Kai Yi, there's only one world in the entire primordial chaos. For the endless primordial chaos, it's too monotonous. So, if another sovereign can be born, wouldn't it be very interesting? Grabbing the white light, Li Yu waved his hand and threw the light outside the endless primordial chaos. An opportunity to give birth to another sovereign? Kai Yi looked in the direction of Li Yu's light spot and asked, "Your Majesty, where did you cast the opportunity?" "Where?" Li Yu's heart moved and he suddenly laughed. Yes. Ha. Where is it? Finale. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.